What's up, Copy Squad? It's your boy Kyle Milligan coming to you live from Boca Raton, Florida. And today I want to discuss the subtle difference between helping and harassing your customers. Let's talk about the story that brought this all up. So I was talking to someone who was basically looking for something particular, a certain answer or a certain solution. That's what it was. I offer a solution to this question, right? And then in return, it automatically comes back with another question. Yeah, but okay, so here's another question. Okay, cool, here's another solution. And then it comes down to, we start talking about my lives and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know how you're able to create this content every single day. They're like, how do you do it every day? How do you have new content every day? I don't understand the process. And I said, fine, I can show you how to do that too. So, question, solution, question, solution, question, solution. And then they say, I should just come live with you for a month. And I just respond, if you did that, I could 5x your income. Like basically 1 month, your whole life will change. And then here comes the quote objection, basically, I can't do that. I have to be here because bills, because this, because that. In turn, I basically offer my experiences, which is like, you don't need them. Get rid of them. This is where I'm talking about. This is the solution. This is the difference between helping and harassing someone, okay? And I'm like, you don't need a house. You don't need that car. You don't need that job that you have that's keeping you afloat, that you can afford that house and that car. And I said, I used to have bills too. And then I saw like the ceiling on my job, and I was like, oh man, I've got to get out of this. I had a pretty comfortable job, which is like the worst kind of job you could have. I was making, it was a sales gig, so I could make like upwards of like 80K, which is a nice comfortable amount of income. You can basically live a pretty easy life that way. And I was like, but that's kind of probably as high as I'm gonna go. I need to get out of here and go do something else. So I got rid of everything. I said I have to start from scratch and do this all over. Now, at that point, I said I used to have bills and then I didn't. And then I decided to do X, Y, Z. All of a sudden the conversation shifted and what I said was misinterpreted, and it came back to me, okay, we get it, you're big money now and you've made it and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I went from being very helpful, like all my answers are very helpful, to all of a sudden I was almost like, I guess the word isn't necessarily directly harassing, but it went from helpful to harassing, where now it feels like, okay, I'm forcing this thing, and like I'm the big shot forcing this way of life on somebody else. So what's the difference between helping and harassing? Basically the way it's perceived makes more difference than your actual intent. Like when a comedian tells a racy joke and everyone gets offended, it doesn't matter if it was a joke, it matters what happens when that person receives the joke. What's the perceived effect? And what happened when I was all of a sudden no longer just giving those very straightforward answers to problems, and instead I suggested a whole new way of life, the perception collided with the term that I want to make about this video, and that's worldview. The worldviews didn't mesh. What's this got to do with copywriting? What's this got to do with marketing? What's this got to do with selling stuff? The answer is everything. When you're writing, I often say that you never want to tell someone that they're wrong. You never want to tell someone like what you're doing is wrong and what I'm doing is right. Which is how whenever something like that happens, you can see how that bashes against one another, and all of a sudden this person feels like, okay, you're just actually criticizing my way of life, you're not helping me anymore. And I think that's super duper important whenever you're selling anything, whenever you're making a pitch, whenever you're giving away information, or you have a sales letter, that you know exactly where your customer's world view is. Because, for instance, if you start explaining to them why the liberal media is ruining the world, and you're talking to people who are on like CNN or something like that, then all of a sudden you're bashing against their worldview. And the opposite is true where you say conservatives are ruining America, and you're talking to people watching Fox News, you're going to have worldview problems. And I think this is very easy to misinterpret, and I think you have to really know your target audience. And I have a couple funny examples here too. Now I kind of feel like this is thrown in there, but I kind of wanted to share them. So guys at the gym and ladies, I think this is one of my favorite examples. So my girlfriend goes to the same gym as me, and when I'm not there, weird things will happen sometimes. And one of those weird things that's happened multiple times are she will be unloading her weights off of her bar or whatever, and some guy like will just appear out of nowhere like Batman and just unload all her weights, and then and it's sort of like one of those things like, this is an area where I can see worldviews are clashing. Because on one hand, I'm like, okay, so there must be this dude who sees this girl who's like unloading all those heavy weights and thinks, I will be super helpful and I will go over there and I will help her unload weights. That's his worldview. That's got to be some sort of worldview issue going on, because on the flip side, you have my girlfriend who's just like, don't touch my weights, bro. Like, what are you doing walking over here into my workout zone and just grabbing at my weights? And I would feel the exact same way. And that's where you have that total worldview conflict, where this dude thinks like that's a really cool thing to do. And again, like we both talked about, we're both marketers, we talked about like what in the world will make a guy say something so disconnected? And it is a worldview thing. And it's important to understand, to grossly label things as right or wrong can make things very difficult to sell to certain groups of people. And it's more, I'd say, profitable to try to figure out where they are. Try to understand their worldview, figure out where they are, okay? And whenever you do that, then you can continue to be helpful for them and not be quote, quote, harassing, okay? And what I mean by that is you can learn how to give them actually what they want. And people mistakenly sell the wrong thing to the wrong people. What people actually want comes back full circle to the message that I have for this entire channel. And basically the premise of my book called Take Their Money is they want a solution to their problems that's new, easy, safe, and big. And it comes back again to that conversation I was having earlier with that person who's happy to take every single one of my answers and advice and everything else up to the point where I challenge their worldview. And when I said that, I was not presenting something new, easy, safe, and big. And they got a wee bit hostile, right? But everything, all of our decisions are emotional. Whenever we speak to someone to make a decision, we're speaking to the emotional brain. That's why this person didn't just simply say, well, in order to do that, this is what I would have to accomplish in this order. What they said no was, you think you're somebody. Like, then all of a sudden it like blew up, right? So that's because ego, emotion, all those things are tied into every decision and ultimately into a person's worldview. So to challenge your worldview is a very, very tough thing to do. That's all I've got for today. I hope you found this interesting. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peace out. Got the squad.